Can Hear You podcast. It's Haunted Phosphorescence. Hello, everyone. This is Throw Smiley, and I think we ought to discuss the bonus situation. Who's joining me this week?
I'm Josh Cece, and when I'm in outer space, I like to go to Flavor Country with a nice, cool menthol.
Right. I'm Brian Lesh, and whenever Josh says anything, I say right.
I'm Alaric Weber, and my structural perfection is matched only by my hostility.
And this is Haunted Phosphorescence.
You're structural.
Haunted Phosphorescence is your normally known as Harmless Phosphorescence, but we have got your Sppok-tober specials coming on. We're doing, instead of doing superhero movies for the month of October, we're going to be doing some spooky, scary movies. This show is brought to you by our patrons. Patrons like executive producers Michael Beckwith and Atticus Burkett. You can be a patron too. Just head over to patreon.com/harmlessentertainment. We got bonus content there. We've got Star Wars shows, music shows. There may possibly be a new one or two coming at you for patrons soon. Stick around and find out. Head over there. $1 a month is all you need to join up.
I think Andrew and I are going to do a Thanksgiving movie.
Ooh,
this year, which we hadn't before, and then probably one or two for Christmas.
Nice.
Now that Phosphorescence is haunted, we've got a good thing going here. But Thanksgiving movie, stay tuned.
Nice. I'm curious to see which one that is, because there's not as many Thanksgiving movies as there are Christmas or Halloween.
No, there aren't, and the ones that are good are as good as each other. But
yeah.
Anyways, patreon.com, check us out.
Are you going to do Thanksgiving?
Oh, that would be rad. You just changed the ball game, Teach.
Head over there, patreon.com/harmlessentertainment. We've got our monthly movie coming out. That'll be probably towards the end of the month here. We're going to be doing An American Werewolf in London. This week, however, on Haunted Phosphorescence, we are going to be watching and talking about Alien.
Intercepted a transmission of unknown origin.
Transmission? Out here?
SOS.
Human.
Unknown.
Alien. Certificate X. Exclusive engagement at the Odeon Leicester Square. Now.
Any systematized transmission indicating a possible intelligent origin must be investigated.
I don't want to hear it.
In space, no one can hear you scream.
Alien.
20th Century Fox presents Alien. Starts today. Odeon Leicester Square. Late night show tonight and every night at 11:45 p.m.
Let's get down to Leicester
Alien.
Square.
Certificate X. In space, no one can hear you scream.
Alien.
What is Certificate X?
That's their version of Rated R.
That's what I wondered. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
Leicester Square.
I couldn't find a trailer for Alien that had any speaking in it whatsoever. So I had to use the old radio trailers from England when it was released, because all of the trailers for Alien are just like just words in space. No one can hear you scream as it slowly pans over a planet and then shows us an egg.
I mean, it's brilliant marketing because they revealed nothing.
Yeah,
nothing.
It was great when they did that.
Absolutely nothing.
You see that the lead role is the captain of the ship, and man, they hoodwink the shit out of everybody.
This is like, I mean, it's kind of amazing, but they did Scream with Drew Barrymore, but the entire cast. Nobody knew who the lead was until like the end of the movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
because
That's cool. Yeah,
Sigourney
I like
Weaver
that.
was a relative unknown at the time. She was one of the least well-known of the entire cast.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we will get into that. In the meantime,
And she
Alien.
grew up hard Scrabble on the streets because her father, Dennis Weaver, was only a TV executive. I'm glad she made it big.
Yeah, right. Wait, are you telling me nepotism may play a part in the entertainment industry, Josh?
Yes, with everyone except for Steven Spielberg, who likes to spot you in the action. Is that Steven Spielberg in our window again?
I just imagine Steven Spielberg traveling the country, visiting local bar mitzvahs.
He's bar mitzvah crashers.
Starring Steven Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis. Or Lucas. Spielberg and Lucas would be.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, this movie, Alien, was released May 25th, 1979. Has a running time of 117 minutes. It cost $11 million, and it made $106.3 million at the box office.
Wow.
Big,
at that time?
Yeah, that's $106.3 million in 1979 dollars. Al, can you tell us? Can you take the time to figure out what that is in modern money while we move on?
No.
Okay, thanks.
He gets paid for his information now.
Yeah, that's right. He gets money for math now. So
Well,
he's
what
not
was
going
the
to do
number?
it for free.
He's a high
106.3 million at the box office. So it was a huge, humongous hit. It was the biggest. I mean, this is very related to Star Wars in many ways, not least because of the time period it came out and
2001, I would say.
Oh, absolutely.
There were some beautiful setups. So yeah, those were currently freshly in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will get into that in the production. Meanwhile, it's time for us to play the box office top 10 game.
1979.
So here's the thing about 1979. Here's the thing. Is that it's a pretty good Smashing Pumpkins song, but there's not a lot of information about the box office on a week-to-week basis. That's what, if you Google 1979, that's what it says. It's a pretty good Smashing Pumpkins song, but there's not a lot of information about the box office on a week-to-week basis.
They've been recording these things since, movies began, Variety and Billboard.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just funny that you go that far back and there's no info, but they've been cataloging that info.
Well, at least not on Box Office Mojo. It's entirely possible.
Okay, fair enough.
that the information exists.
Louis D. Mayer is on.
Yeah. So Al, did you happen to find that out?
Not yet.
Oh, he's still looking at his sources. Don't worry about it. We'll just play the game. So instead of doing the week of May 25th, 1979, we're going to be doing the box office top 10 for the entire year of 1979.
Makes sense.
So this is the top 10 movies of the year 1979. There we go. So this is for ones that were released in the year of 1979, but not necessarily, what not the biggest grossers of 79. So if something was really like Superman was released at the end of 78. So it was technically the biggest grosser of 79, even though it wasn't released that year. So this is just release year 79.
Okay, I've got it.
Okay, what was it?
106.3 million in 1979 is worth 400 million today.
Okay,
Holy
so big
shit.
hit.
If we time travel.
400.5 million.
And that is just domestic. That's not worldwide grosses. We don't know what this did overseas. All right. So you guys ready to jump into the box office top 10?
Right.
See.
All right. The number 10 movie of the year are. See, I'm already trying to figure out how to not just give this away through the first word.
Yeah.
Our lead and his newfound friends trek across America to find success in Hollywood.
Oh, the Muppet Movie.
Yep.
Yes, indeed.
Moving right along.
The Muppet Movie was the 10th biggest one. Some of the ones that didn't make the top 10, we've got The Black Hole, Manhattan, Meatballs, Escape from Alcatraz, 1941. There were a lot of 1979 movies. So coming in at number 9, a spy investigates the mid-air theft of a space shuttle and discovers a plot to commit global genocide.
Moonraker.
Yeah, Moonraker. I don't think that was the song.
No.
Coming in at
that was a mix of Goldfinger and Moon River.
right.
James Brown's Moon River. James Brown. James Bond. Wow,
James
we're all over the
Brown's Moonraker. Like,
I'm in space.
they stole the shuttle, and I'm super bad.
This is a brand new bag that I don't want to be in.
Number 8, a simple-minded country boy decides to leave his family home to experience life in the big city.
Is it The Jerk?
It's The Jerk.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh my God, that movie is amazing. Coming in at number 7, a Hollywood composer goes through a midlife crisis and becomes infatuated with a sexy, newly married woman. This is Blake Edwards' joint.
Oh, A Fine Mess?
No. It stars oh crap. What was the name of that actress? She had famously it has the poster has what is her name? She's got cornrows and she's on a beach.
Oh, Bo Derek. Is it
Bo Derek.
10?
It's 10. 10,
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
That was just a symbol I was confused about.
Yeah, I never quite got that.
Like she's an attractive woman, like a model. It is. But even with the cornrows, I don't know.
There's a number of like 60s and 70s sex symbols, and I'm like, what now?
Yeah. Those are very pretty ladies. A poster, I don't know. They didn't take down the Galactic Empire. I don't know if a poster's needed.
Right?
They're not Spider-Man.
Coming in at number 6, a U.S. Army officer serving in Vietnam is tasked with assassinating a renegade special forces colonel.
Apocalypse Then.
Yes, apocalypse in a little bit.
In a little bit. He was Marlon Brando. He was so funny as the comic relief in Apocalypse.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I get it. It's about the journey.
In this heart of darkness.
Coming in at number 5. Okay. So after a space merchant vessel receives an unknown transmission as a distress call, one of the crew is attacked by a mysterious life form, and they soon realize that its life cycle has merely begun.
Howard the Duck.
Yeah, what if he was an invasive species?
I mean, isn't he?
That's that corkscrew
he's not
penis.
Procreating. It's alien.
He's trying. Well, I guess he did bring a condom with him, so he's not trying too hard to procreate.
Yo, I don't need that. I don't need no
Again,
baby mama drama.
Yeah, anybody who hasn't listened to our Howard the Duck episode, I must repeat this. Do not keep an open condom in your wallet. That is not a good way to use them.
No, it's all linty. All right, the Alien. We're talking about Alien.
Yeah, number 5.
That condom wasn't even corkscrew shaped.
No,
that is a great
well,
point.
To be fair, though, you know,
if you get the right size,
fleshy palms, yeah,
fleshy palms, duck boobs with hard bill nipples.
For the first time since I've ever heard of Howard the Duck, I just tried to picture his dick.
Oh no.
This is a dark day.
Dun dun drr, dun.
I need to go to Hunger City.
So Alien was the number 5 movie. There are 4 movies that did better than Alien this year. So number 4, when a spacecraft of enormous power is spotted approaching Earth, an old leader resumes command of his spaceship to intercept it.
Empire Strikes Back?
No. Approaching Earth?
Oh, right, my bad.
2001?
No.
2021.
Do I hear 2022?
An old leader.
This is absolute yes, the motion picture.
The Moco.
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't come to mind because it should be the least seen on your Star Trek list.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
It's 2.5 hours of slow motion shots of them arriving at the Enterprise.
Arriving places, yeah.
Yes.
So quiet, so bald.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, I mean, it got Gene Roddenberry taken off the series, and he was like, "No one's going to want to watch Star Trek without me." And then they made Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
And
I think Wrath of Khan took some beats from Alien.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, coming in at number 3. A boxer struggles in family life while the embarrassed champ insistently goads him to accept a challenge for a rematch.
Adrian!
Rocky 2.
Rocky 2, number 2.
Which was important for Rocky.
Yeah.
Because he lost before.
Number 2. Newlyweds and their 3 children move into a large house where a mass murder was committed.
Poltergeist? No, not Poltergeist.
No, that was
81.
Amityville? Amityville Horror, yep. The Amityville Horror.
The OG with Thanos' dad.
Yeah,
James Brolin.
The original Brolin.
Yep. Brolin.
Isn't that Lois Lane too?
Doggies.
Oh, was Margot Kidder in that?
Yeah, I think so. Or Karen Allen. I'm not making a joke.
Yeah, who knows?
No, it wasn't Karen Allen. Yeah, I believe it was.
Yeah. And our number 1 movie of the year. Ted's wife leaves him, allowing for a lost bond to be rediscovered between Ted and his son Billy. But a heated custody battle ensues over the divorced couple's son, deepening the wounds left by the separation.
Oh,
Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah.
The number 1 movie of the year was about a divorce.
79 was rough, man.
Wow. That's crazy. Like a Dustin Hoffman, Meryl Streep?
Yeah.
Yes.
Meryl Streep drama about a divorce.
Okay,
Beat out Alien and Star Trek and Amityville.
I know.
It is a great movie, I will say.
It is
It
good.
is, absolutely.
But it's that bullshit attitude of like only dramas can be considered serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It still happens. You know, how many times over the years has a comedy fucking deserved an Academy Award?
But
or
I mean,
a science fiction movie?
If you're looking at the box office receipts on it, though, I mean, the dramas filled seats in theaters. You know, it's weird.
Absolutely.
Still do.
Absolutely. They
That's what the
did.
people want.
Yeah.
They want to feel something.
Yeah. Like we're tired of not feeling. There's a great malaise over the country.
Isn't laughter and joy a feeling? No.
It's not.
I want to
That's why
see.
That's why I have
drama
cocaine.
about children being murdered. That's why I have cocaine.
All right. No, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, just like I don't think Blazing Saddles won an Academy Award of any kind.
Oh
No.
no.
But
Yeah,
all
I
right.
mean, Jojo Rabbit, right, was one of the first.
I
Yeah.
think so. Or maybe a Wes Anderson one, but before.
I don't think.
But yeah.
I don't think Wes Anderson
Comedies.
did. Yeah.
Comedies do not win awards unless
Never
you're Woody
have.
Allen in the 80s.
Ugh.
Annie
Yeah.
Hall beat Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. Annie Hall beat Star Wars. I'm sorry, I don't think. Anyways, all right, I'm not going to get into that.
Well, I love Annie Hall, but is it better
Well,
than
yeah.
Star Wars? What are you talking about?
I
Get
mean,
out
come
of here.
on, right?
I'm not going to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, that is our box office top 10, which brings us to the production history of the film. So this movie really got started by Dan O'Bannon.
Yeah,
So, have any of you guys seen Dark Star?
years ago.
No, I
That
don't
was
know.
that's John Carpenter's student film he made. He
Oh.
mad it with him and Dan O'Bannon made it together.
With loose cannon O'Bannon.
I mean, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, tell me.
So they were when they were at USC together, and it's basically Alien. It's a comedy Alien. That's basically what it is. It's a really interesting movie.
Oh.
It's very, very low budget, and you can tell. But it was like 30 minutes long. They got some money from a studio to make it into a full-length feature and release it. And that's how Carpenter and O'Bannon both got started. O'Bannon had the idea. Basically, he wanted to make a serious horror version of Dark Star. So, but before he could do that, he got hired on as a screenwriter for Jodorowsky's Dune.
Oh.
When that, and in doing that, that's when he met Geiger,
Yeah.
and became friends with H.R. Geiger.
I think it's Giger, but
Giger?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think so. But I always said Geiger.
Yeah, I think of the Geiger counter, but yeah, I think his name is
Giger.
It's awesome at counting.
I think I heard him say it in a documentary at one point. I was like, "Oh, Giga."
Giger. So, well, I mean, he's German, right?
Swiss, I think.
Norway. Yeah, I was going to say up in the cold country.
Vermont. So anyway,
Yeah, it's pronounced Giga there. No,
so,
actually, it's pronounced Giga.
So Dan O'Bannon met up then with Ronald Shusett. Ronald Shusett, let's see, where is that? Ronald Shusett was another sci-fi writer, and he owned the rights to Philip K. Dick's We Can Remember It For You wholesale. He bought those in 1974.
Wow.
So
awesome.
they got together and they were trying to figure out whether they were going to make O'Bannon's the guy from what is it? O'Bannon Rules.
Oh, from Dazed and Confused.
No,
It's
O'Bannon. No,
Oh,
what is
not
that?
O'Bannon. Just Bannon is.
What
Ben
movie is that?
Affleck's character.
O'Bannon Rules. Is that
Oh,
from?
Doyle Rules is
Oh,
from
Doyle
Doyle
Billy
Rules. That's what I
Madison.
was thinking. Billy Madison. Okay, I
Yeah.
was getting those confused. All right, so yeah, they him and O'Bannon got together. They were trying to figure out, and they decided they were going to do Alien before I Can Remember For You wholesale, which I Can Remember It For You wholesale. They later actually did get made, and it was called Total Recall.
Yep.
They both worked on it together. It was written. They both have a writing credit on it, and Ronald Shusett also has a production credit. Obviously, it was directed by Paul Verhoeven. Let's see. Shusett also went on to, he made Above the Law. He was a producer on Minority Report.
That's a great Dick adaptation.
Yeah, it is. He wrote Free Jack.
Free Jack's cool.
Free Jack's cool. Meanwhile, O'Bannon, O'Bannon was working on Dune, and then they started getting this made after they decided to do this one after they saw Star Wars. Basically, O'Bannon, they sold it to a production company that was working with 20th Century Fox, And then two guys by the name of David Giller and Walter Hill were brought on to do rewrites, which O'Bannon was pissed off about and almost left because of. David Giller, his notable things, he's kind of just an industry guy. He was mostly a producer. But he he wrote The Parallax View, Fun with Dick and Jane. He wrote The Money Pit. He was the head writer for Alien 3. So and since then he just basically produces Alien movies, Alien and Predator movies. Walter Hill has a little bit more creative creds on him. He, prior to this, was the writer and director of The Warriors. He wrote and directed 48 Hours. He wrote Brewster's Millions. Another 48 Hours. He wrote and directed Last Man Standing. So he's a little more of a creative. But after this movie, O'Bannon basically spent the rest of his career he worked on, he worked on Return of the Living Dead. And of course the Total Recall. He has that writing credit on Total Recall, but he mostly just kind of executive produced Alien movies and he just kind of sat around and made money as the creator of Alien for the next until
Dan
he died.
O'Bannon?
Yeah.
He did a lot of novelizations and stuff too.
Alien novelizations
and Star Wars and other things.
Oh, okay.
Too.
In general, that's cool.
Yeah.
So originally, this film, it had a $3 million budget that got upped at a certain point when they brought in Ridley Scott. Originally, O'Bannon pitched this as Jaws in space, which is,
yeah, all right,
makes a lot of sense. So Ridley Scott was brought on. Where was it? Ridley Scott says that there was a few names being tossed around as directors, but when Ridley Scott got brought on, that's when it really started picking up steam. He pitched it, or he said his view of it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre in space. Just pick a movie and say it's in space.
In space, yeah. That's how
is.
Star Trek got sold. It was like Wagon Train in space.
In space, yeah.
So I want to correct myself. It's not Dan O'Bannon. I got Alan Dean Foster and Dan O'Bannon mixed up in my head.
Oh, okay, yeah. Alan Dean Foster.
Yeah, different. Yeah, very different people.
Yeah. Okay. So as far as the casting goes, they wrote all the parts as interchangeable. They only have single names. They could be men or women. Casting was completely open. And this obviously casting was kind of key here. They specifically cast the people that died first as larger acting names. That's why we get Tom Skerritt, Harry Dean Stanton, John Hurt, because they were the bigger names and people were going to be shocked when they died first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ridley Scott, of course, I don't know. Is he best known for Alien or is he best known for Blade Runner?
Oh, that Noah movie that he made, man. That's definitely...
What had he done before this?
The Duelist. This was his second movie. Prior to this, he made The Duelist, which was set in like the 17 or early 1800s.
Yeah, one duel.
Yeah. So
when duels were not had at a Quick Trip.
But of course, he's Ridley Scott's. This is the second Ridley Scott film we did. We did The Martian for a monthly movie.
Mm-hmm.
But his career's crazy. He had so many like all-time classic movies, and then like in between them a bunch of shit that you're like, what the fuck is this?
I think he has a movie on its way. The House of Gucci, I believe, is his.
He's got
It,
that.
It looks really good, actually.
The last duel. Or
Yeah.
that's him
Oh,
with
wow.
like 30
Matt-
guys in it.
Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Adam Driver.
I know.
Yeah, wild. Well, and Gladiator. I just watched Gladiator 2 nights ago.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
fucking-
That is such a good movie. But the duel apparently was they had like 3 scenes left to shoot in April of 2020 when they had to shut down. And so they had to shut down for like 10 months and then come back and spend like a week shooting.
Jeez.
Yeah. Let's see. So our cast. Tom Skerritt as Dallas, the captain. It's weird. It's funny to me, the connections I make, because the first movie I ever saw where I like recognized Tom Skerritt as being Tom Skerritt was Poltergeist 3. So I always think of him as the guy from
true.
Poltergeist 3, even though it's like one of the least movies he ever did.
I always
And,
think of him from Top Gun.
Oh, yeah.
Well, of course, he's most.
Yeah.
He was also in Up in Smoke. Cheech and Chong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
I was.
Poltergeist 3. I watched the first Poltergeist the other day. Does the kid live with her family or does she live alone in an apartment building? The description was vague.
They all live in a penthouse. And it's a brand new one, but I think it was also built on some. You know, if you think about the population of all humankind over the years, everywhere is potentially a burial ground.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of
You're
stuff
always
buried a lot of
walking on
places.
bones. But the crazy thing about part 3 is that she died
Yeah.
mid
Before it was
filming.
before it was even done.
The
And
kid,
so
right?
her,
Girl?
so the kid,
Yeah.
so they rewrite it as if she becomes not just possessed like in other movies, but has a different face, like a little goblin face.
Mhm.
That they were able to have a little person finish the movie for. It's very weird,
Yeah.
Weird, man.
but I
It's-
totally remember Skerritt from it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He also let's see. He was in MASH, Harold and the movie MASH, not the show. Harold and Maude. Space Camp. You guys remember Space Camp?
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
Steel Magnolias.
that's right.
Yeah. Then we've got Sigourney Weaver, of course, is Ripley. In this film, referred to only as Ripley. She did not become Ellen Ripley until the sequel.
Yep.
Yeah.
And is this her first? Let's see.
I think it was.
This might be her first credit. Yeah.
At least her first lead,
Absolutely her first lead.
which we didn't know at first.
Yeah. We didn't know she was the lead when this started.
This is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, her first film, she was in Annie Hall. She had a small role in Annie Hall.
Huh.
Yeah. And then she was also in the 1978 Durang play Titanic, the stage production of Titanic, in which she played the iceberg.
It's a good idea, but we need like a conflict.
Yeah. So apparently, Veronica Cartwright, who played Lambert, was thought she was playing Ripley and didn't find out she wasn't until she got to the set, which is rough for her. Yeah, Veronica Cartwright. She started out as a child actor. She was in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Birds. But,
she was bird number 37.
Is that why she seems pissed off in the movie?
I was gonna say
It might be, yeah.
she definitely used that emotion.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Ridley Scott did some Kubrick level shit on this movie because Yaphet Kotto was told to annoy Sigourney Weaver throughout production, and he has said he regretted it afterwards because he really liked it.
Yeah, but it brought some great performances.
Well,
out.
and Ridley Scott actually filmed a lot of their dress rehearsals.
Yeah.
So a lot of them sitting around their tables, they were just kind of like improvising, riffing off each other dress rehearsal
Yeah.
as a, like
Right.
they didn't, and so originally O'Bannon, like so he's not well known as a writer for human characters. He's a great, like in the same way Lucas isn't really known. He's a good
Right.
idea guy, but that's what the writers that were brought in did, and what Ridley Scott really focused on. He was like, no, we've got the alien stuff down. It's scary. We've got these special effects guys working on it. It's going to be great, but we need to actually care about these people. And O'Bannon was like, do we need to bother with caring about people?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Veronica Cartwright, she was in Going South, Flight of the Navigator. Oh, Witches of Eastwick. Was she the lady that died, that like had like the cherries? Who was she? I think that
I haven't seen that in a minute.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I watched it about 2 months ago. So, but Harry Dean Stanton as Harry Dean Stanton as what's his character's name? It's
Parker.
Parker, yes. Or was he
Brett?
Brett. He's Brett.
Yaphet is Brett.
Yaphet is Parker. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. It was one of the...
Yeah, Harry Dean Stanton, of course, like consummate character actor, legendary. Godfather Part 2, Cool Hand Luke. He was the dad in Christine. Repo Man, Pretty in Pink.
Repo Man. Oof.
Oh, he was in Last Temptation of Christ.
He's been in so much.
So much.
He's even appeared in the MCU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw him in the Avengers.
That's
and
right.
I love his because Joss had worked with him before. I'm not sure on what, but yeah. You're from outer space? No, I'm not. Then son, you got yourself a condition.
Yeah, Harry Dean Stanton, man, all-time legend.
John, he seemed so young in this.
So young.
Yeah, he did.
He was actually he's born in 1926, so he was 52 when they filmed this.
Right. Yeah.
But comparatively, he seemed so young.
Yeah, exactly.
Compared to himself.
Yeah. So, and in his review of this film, Ebert makes the point that all of the cast is over 40 except for Sigourney Weaver and Veronica Cartwright. And so it has a lot more gravitas to it just immediately than, a lot of the slasher films or horror films of the time did, because those were all teenagers. Yeah. So instantly, by having a bunch of 40-year-old dudes, it becomes like a lot heavier and a lot, it feels like there's more to it.
Yeah.
It feels more grown up just from that.
It's true. It's a good point. And they seem like they'd been at their job for a while. Like they were all pros kind of thing.
So that was the big thing. I mean, that's kind of the biggest deal with this is that, other than the fact that it's a horror movie set in space, which was a novel idea at the time, is that they were... that's what they got from Star Wars was the used universe.
Yeah.
But something that was theirs and like theirs alone was space is a job. These aren't like adventurers. They're not out there saving the galaxy. They're truckers. They're hauling some ore back to Earth.
Absolutely. Great.
And this is written and filmed to be like naturalistic instead of fantasy, It feels like people sitting around eating lunch in between shifts.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're bitching about their pay. The work. No one appreciates the work they're doing.
They're annoying and funny and kind of catty with each other. Yeah, in ways that we haven't seen. I can't think of another movie that's written like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're smoking. There's a cat on board.
Yeah.
And those might seem silly, but they just reinforce that this has been around a while. This technology and this way of life and everything, that they found a way to adapt outer life into inner. And so it does a great job of making this seem like old hand to these characters.
They're not explorers, they're truck drivers, and this is not their first trek across the galaxy.
You just want to get across the ice road and get fucking home.
Yeah.
Bring you your flat screens.
Exactly. Yeah, and that was, I mean, that's a big deal. Like it was a very, very novel idea in 1979.
Yeah, there is no Flash Gordon here at all.
Yes, which is crazy because this came out like a year after Flash Gordon.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
John Hurt as what was his name? It was
Kane.
Kane. I knew it was a K. John Hurt is Kane. The legendary John Hurt. He got his he was in A Man for All Seasons. He Midnight Express. He got an Academy Award nomination for that one. Later on, he was in The Elephant Man. He was in the Harry Potter series. We saw him in the Hellboy.
1984.
Yeah.
1984. That's right. Yeah.
And V for Vendetta. Right.
And V for Vendetta, which was the other 1984.
Yeah, playing the same role.
Yeah. Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. He played the War Doctor in the relaunch of Doctor Who back in the early 2010s. That was good. Yeah. Kind of the peak of that. His voice acting. He was in the Lord of the Rings, Ralph Bakshi film. He did in Watership Down, which was, I feel like no one talks about Watership Down anymore. That was a big part of my childhood.
Yeah, I watched it a lot as a kid, and it was intense.
I read the book numerous times, and I watched the cartoon quite a few times. But yeah. John Hurt.
And we've seen him before in Hellboy.
Yep, in Hellboy. Sir Ian Holm. He just passed away last year. Ian Holm did.
Yeah.
As
he
Ash,
was called Holm.
Aw, Ian Holm.
Sorry.
Let's see. Let's see. His film debut was The Beaufort's Gun. Okay.
The Gopher's Bun?
The Beaufort's Gun. Yeah. Let's see. Chariots of Fire, Brazil, The Fifth Element, and of course, Bilbo in Lord of the Rings.
Wasn't he Napoleon in Time Bandits?
Yes, Napoleon and Time Bandits. That's right.
Yeah.
So we've talked about him before.
Yeah. But yeah, he's Ian Holm. He's great. Yaphet Kotto as what did we decide? He was
Parker.
Yeah, as Parker. Oh my God, he was in The Running Man. I forgot about that. I haven't seen that movie in a while.
Which Bond was he in? He was a villain.
Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die.
Yeah, my favorite one.
He
was in Midnight Run, as we talked about recently.
Yep. He was another bounty hunter, wasn't he?
Yeah, or the cop.
Was he the
I
cop?
can't remember.
I haven't seen Midnight Run in like 15 years. I can't remember. Yaphet Kotto, he's another kind of great character actor. He's been in so many things. This is a little known tidbit. He was the second lead. He was almost cast as Jean-Luc Picard.
Really?
Whoa.
He was the second choice after Patrick Stewart.
I could see it. He's got a lot. Yeah, he's got a lot going on. He's funny and he's serious.
Mm-hmm.
I could see why he came to the audition. It would make sense. But
he's imposing like Idris Elba. He's like a gigantic man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Let's start an online petition.
Right.
Yaphet Kotto.
Refilm this series with Yaphet Kotto.
He died this year.
Aw.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. March 15th.
Yep.
Oh God, everybody.
Yes, everybody.
Everybody dies.
From all
God damn
time.
it. And rounding out our cast, we didn't see his face on screen, but Bellahi Badejo as the alien.
Yeah.
And the Nigerian visual artist, he did a, let's see, not much about him, honestly. This was his big film role. Other than this,
they literally found him in a bar. He was tall and skinny, and they went, "You could be an alien.
You can do it."
Yeah, he was 6'10". He passed away in 1990.
6'10"?
Yeah, 6'10".
And lanky. Oh shit.
Yeah, he passed away in 1992 from sickle cell anemia at the age of 39. So that's a bummer. Yeah. So that about rounds out our.
Since there's only one more, we may as well mention
Helen
Horton.
The voice of Mother.
Mother.
Yeah.
I get that right.
Yeah, Helen.
And the cat. Who
Jonesy
in this? Jones?
Oh yeah, I didn't get the name of the cat who played Jones.
Jones is uncredited on IMDb.
Yeah.
He's the same cat that appears in Captain Marvel.
Well, and Jones actually appears in Aliens, but I assume it's a different cat considering it was made 7 years later.
Yeah.
Time is weird. Are cat years the same in space?
Well, I mean, he also got
nobody can hear you speak.
Cryo frozen.
Yeah, he got cryo frozen. So, Helen Horton played the voice of Mother. Let's see. She's the grandmother of Lily James.
She was in Superman 3.
Who was she in Superman 3?
Mrs. Henderson.
I don't remember Mr.
Is that the lady next to the guy on roller skates?
Miss Henderson, the secretary, right? Or like
the sister.
I'm not sure. I can't remember. She either could have been at the unemployment office, or she could have been one of the couple that won the trip to Brazil or Colombia or something.
She looks like a normal human.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, her other credits. She was in a bunch of TV and like not very well known films throughout the 50s and 60s. But she was in The Razor's Edge. Oh, she was in The Benny Hill Show for 6 episodes.
It's hard to tell because she's moving at 3 times the speed.
Well, right. And isn't the voice of Mother in this movie only the countdown for the self-destruct sequence? Spoiler alert for those of you that haven't seen the movie yet.
Yep.
I believe so,
yeah. So, all right, that is our production. This film was reviewed by Siskel and Ebert.
Ooh, before thumbs.
An exciting moment from Alien, the outer space horror film that is setting box office records all across the United States. Alien, which I gotta admit scared me.
I gotta admit it scared me too.
Oh, all right. It's just one of 5 new films we'll be reviewing on sneak previews. 2 film critics discussing the latest movies in town. Now, the other guy who said he's scared is Roger Ebert, the film critic for the Chicago Sun-Times.
My fellow chicken on today's program is Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune. 2 of the most successful genres of the last 5 years have been science fiction and horror films, and Alien is both. It's a combination of some of the best space hardware since Star Wars and the most gruesome bug-eyed monster since the creature from the Black Lagoon. The movie begins aboard a gigantic intergalactic freighter where the crew is in suspended animation until the onboard computer awakens them for an emergency. The captain explains why their mission has been changed.
The alien doesn't have eyes. It's not bug-eyed.
Some of you may have figured out we're not home yet.
Yeah. All right, I was skipping all of the clips.
Yeah, for sure.
You get a wonderful sense there of something that might have been waiting there a long time for somebody to find it. Anyway, they go on board that mysterious ship, and they wind up bringing back an extremely unwelcome guest on board their own ship, an alien creature that's the movie's most original invention. Now, I don't want to give away too much. I'm not giving away too much when I say it's kind of a cross between a squid and a spider and the Thing. And it's not real great to look at because its body is covered with extraterrestrial intestines. And the humans battle for survival. The alien oozes around the ship like a mucous membrane from outer space. And the movie is one of the scariest old-fashioned space operas I can remember.
Well, it did scare me, too. I looked away, and I was yelling with like a few other people. It's going to hit them on the floor. It's going to come from the ceiling.
It's in the next row. It's behind me in the theater. Right.
But I want to say that, you know, strip away all the beautiful scenery and the evocative weirdness of the picture. What we really have here is basically the haunted house film, only instead of a wild creature running around in a haunted house, we got a wild creature running around in a spaceship. And so this is not the greatest science fiction film ever made, even though it seems to be doing very well across the country.
Well, I think the combination of horror and science fiction is a very appealing one right now, very commercial. There is one moment, though, when the film does transcend just that horror, haunted spaceship sort of thing. And that's in this scene we just saw. As it goes on a little bit further, they enter that spaceship. They go inside. They find the alien pilot all desiccated from his voyage that might have taken place millions of years ago. And then they go into that big, enormous cavern down below and what they find there and so forth. Gives you a real sense, I mean, from the point of view of art direction and everything else, that this could have been an alien ship. It's not just another TV or movie creation.
Yeah, one consumer point. A lot of young people are probably going to want to see this picture. They love horror films. This one's pretty bloody. It is pretty violent, and I think a lot of people, adults and kids, are going to be turned off and maybe frightened too much by it. So for young kids, certainly, this is not a picture to go see.
It's R-rated.
Yeah, for a reason.
Yeah, there's a reason for it.
Okay.
Alien, the R-rated science fiction thriller with the creepiest monster in years, also got 2 yes votes, but...
Oh, Battlestar Galactica.
Notice the photo that they're using is Tom Skerritt in the spacesuit.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like they are really keeping it under wraps that Sigourney Weaver is the lead. Like they are not giving that away.
Good on them for not even mentioning it in the review too, because at that point, I figure in '79 people would have been like, a movie with a lady.
No, and it was back when you could keep things on the low, but like what a reveal of a creature. That's what Roger and Gene were saying, and I'm sure that's part of why they had to say yes. Like it took a while to see it. You didn't expect it. When you did see it, it was very much different than anything you'd ever seen. I don't mean the face hugger.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the mucous membrane moving throughout the ship. Oh, the way he describes it gave me the creeps. And I love this movie. I've seen it dozens of times.
But he's accurate. They do that a lot. They just plainly describe what it is. And like, yeah, you're right. That's not a critique.
And it goes to show how otherworldly the design is. I really liked Roger. I don't want to focus too much on the review, but Roger going and saying like, it's not just a horror movie, like a haunted house movie. The lore that they built in with just the single shot of the space jockey in the chair opens up the universe to like, what is that? What is that thing? That's a question that people ask for 30 years.
Absolutely. There's so much going on in the background, so many little things. That's something they got. I don't know if they got it from Star Wars, but that's something it shares in common with specifically A New Hope, the original Star Wars, is the just having things, the lived-in universe. There's things. It's on it's on the screen. They mention it. There's something in the background. They don't explain it. It's just there for you to see and extrapolate from.
The eggs are interesting, though. Because we are led to believe that how they procreate is through another organism, obviously not just humans because they're ancient. But where does the laying of the eggs come in then?
Yeah, even
the skeletal pilot has the face hugger bones on it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then that's the thing. So here's so I mean that's Jude was asking like, how does this procreate? And I had to like break it down and be like, okay, so it lays an egg, then the egg hatches and the face hugger attaches to another creature and then puts its spores or its fetus, whatever it is, into its stomach.
Right.
And then that gestates inside the other creature and bursts out.
Some spiders do that actually, but not I don't know if it's to a living spider or not, but yeah.
Well,
gotcha.
and this movie leaves a lot of things unanswered that Aliens attempts to then put a little bit more into the detail behind it, but still not a ton.
Yeah, Aliens still doesn't like get real in depth with explaining things.
Well, they don't. Yeah, it came out of nowhere. They don't know what it is.
You guys didn't watch the director's cut, right?
No, I just watched the original.
So, and neither did I, but I've seen the director's cut. And in the director's cut, there are a few scenes that they put in that kind of explain a little bit more about the life cycle of the alien race, not as individuals, because they are a not a hive mind, but they work as a hive like bees or ants. and you can see that this single alien was doing stuff that would lead to the results that we get in Aliens. Building a nest, that kind of thing, building a hive.
Yeah, and so Ridley Scott said that the aliens take on some of the traits of the whatever they gestate inside. So that's why that one came out looking human-esque, had like a vaguely human-shaped body.
Okay.
We see in Alien 3, that's where they really explore that idea.
Yeah.
With the buffalo. I think there's a dog. Yeah.
And then one of the Alien versus Predator movies.
Yeah.
We get the Alien Predator hybrid.
Yeah. Prometheus later on in the same universe, we get the space jockey alien thing. Ish thing. They're not the same, but yeah. It's cool. It's an interesting concept. It's kind of like The Thing in that sense.
Yes.
Yeah, it is kind of. So this movie has 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good movie.
It's an all right movie.
Yeah. So are you guys ready to go ahead and jump on into it?
Wait, let me get the cat.
My interest begins in 9, 8, 7.
While he counts, I'm going to refill my flamethrower.
On a spaceship.
Here we go.
All right, here we go.
This is Alien. We open on space. It's big, really big.
It's the place to be.
We get a title, a slow title, and a slow pan to a spaceship. This movie was so... I mean, I know part of it's that it was made in a slower era of filmmaking, but it is very specifically slowly in like plot, like everything feels like very like inevitably slowly coming at you. You know something's coming. We're gonna get there, but it's taking its time.
I mean,
probably what space travel is.
Every time I watch this movie way too much. I love this movie. I go to turn it on and I don't know where to set the volume in the beginning. And the first sounds that the spaceship makes never fails to startle the shit out of me. I'm like, oh God, I turned it way too loud. Because that long, like 35, 45 seconds to a minute of just doo-doo-doo as it slowly spells the word alien on screen.
That from 20th Century Fox until the computer starts turning on was 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah, it's incredible. You mentioned the 20th Century Fox intro, the really grainy
1970s version. Yeah.
70s version. I just want to make a brief mention of it. It might come up again in the show. There's a video game called Alien Isolation that is one of the pinnacle forms of video game media in this universe. They use the same intro.
Nice.
Because it's a 20th Century Fox property and it looks just like this. It feels like you are stepping into that universe because the title, fanfare is the same and it's got that film grain. It's incredible. If you've never had a chance to play it and you get a chance, play it for 5 minutes and you will be terrified.
That's cool.
So, all right. After the pan to the ship, it's the Nostromo. Its systems begin to wake up, and it wakes up its crew who are in cryogenic sleep. They wrap. So I just like all the misleads through this are just incredible. Like I just can't get over how much they focus on John Hurt, who was the biggest star in the film, and Tom Skerritt, who plays the captain.
Yep.
We barely see anything about Ripley.
This opening sequence, the chamber, the cryogenic chamber, this is one of my favorite film tricks in the movie. There's a mirror running down the center of this scene to make it look like this room is twice as big. They built half of this and mirror image that to make it all look the same when they all open up like that. It's just a cool trick.
Wow.
There's a lot of tricks in this movie that just blow my mind. Also, the ship, the Nostromo, its original name was Snark.
The Snark.
The Snark, and then the Leviathan, and then the Nostromo. Like
the Leviathan at least doesn't sound ridiculous as a name
this
for a
movie
series.
definitely improved at every rewrite.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is O'Bannon. Watch Dark Star. It's basically a bunch of stoner dudes hanging out in space for like for an hour and a half. So all right. Let's see. They browse themselves, they have breakfast, we meet everybody. We've got Dallas the captain, Ripley's the warrant officer. She's the third in charge. Lambert is the navigator. Brett and Parker are engineers. Kane's the first officer, and Ash is the science officer. And of course, Jones the cat.
I noted that they still have toy drinking birds in the future.
Oh, the little guys that go up and down.
Do you think they left those running while they were in cryosleep to see if, like, when they got out, they'd be still drinking the water?
No, it was running the computer like Homer.
Yeah. That's why they stopped. The bird fell over.
Yep.
So all right. Dallas is called to the interface room of the ship's AI, which they refer to as Mother.
So this moment when it happens, you get the like, meh, and Ash says to him like, "Mother wants to talk to you," and he goes, "Oh, yellow light for my eyes only." I have a feeling that as they were editing the movie, they added the sound to make it less obvious that Ash was the android. Because if he had just been too perceptive all along, we would have been more suspicious of him.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things like rewatching this, watching it with a critical eye. Like they were really trying to hide this thing that they were also trying to make kind of apparent to us.
No, they did a great job keeping Ash's Ash being an android on rewatch obvious, but also not at all obvious on a first watch.
His beady little eyes darting around at every conversation, you know, like he's just not trustworthy, but also
yeah, exactly. So all right, he's informed that they've been woken up early to investigate a signal from an uninhabited planet. The rest of the crew get to work, and they realize that they're not near Earth, where they were expecting to wake up. We discover the crew is hauling ore back to Earth from a mining planet. Dallas informs the crew about the situation, and despite the protests of Brett and Parker, they decide to go to the planet and check out the signal because it's in their contract.
Yeah.
The whole dystopia, like boring dystopian corporate, like oligarch world they live in is all too real.
Well,
it's also, what was that? James Cameron fucking
Avatar?
Yes, Avatar. Similar situation, right?
Yeah.
They're like retired space marines that now work for a company.
Well, yeah, but I mean, can you not see like the Amazon spaceship where the crew has to haul the ore back for Jeff Bezos,
peeing in water bottles, you know, because they can't take a break. This trope forever became part of science fiction. It makes me think of Rick and Morty. You know, you get that mysterious signal. It's like, oh, it's a distress signal. We have to stop. It's the rule of space.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's how they reintroduced the Guardians in Endgame or I don't know. In Infinity War. Yeah. Rocket and they're responding to a distress call.
Yeah.
And Quill and Rocket basically say the same thing. Like, well, we save them, they pay us. They don't pay us, we take their ship.
This is how the beginning of the Expanse, which is hugely inspired by Alien. I'll try not to talk about the Expanse too much during this, but the first thing that happens in the story is they get a distress signal, and they're like, "We have to answer it because if we're in that situation, we want someone to come save us because we are how many weeks away from rescue, and they could be running out of oxygen and and dying close to death."
It's a cornerstone of Star Trek story.
Yeah, well,
especially because the Federation would have that regulation.
Well, and it's a trope now, but the whole like it's not a distress signal; it's a warning. I feel like this might have been the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, an ambush.
Yeah.
I had a couple of notes. I think we passed all of them. At the dinner table, Kane says, "I feel dead." I thought that was a great. Kind of foreboding.
You
line.
look dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To a laugh. Everybody laughs at him.
Yeah.
2 future computers run on DOS. So everybody sell your Microsoft and Apple stock.
We're going back, baby.
Right.
Make America DOS
and,
again.
And this is a trash truck. This thing is as low budget as they could possibly make it. They're trying to squeeze every penny out.
Yeah,
So
it's a hauler.
It's made to last. Who knows how long it's been in service?
So I just have to say, as somebody who works for the government, if we have systems running on DOS still.
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The name of the mines they were coming from was the Solomons.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Solomon's mines.
Yeah. And traffic control is in Antarctica.
Yeah, that was interesting.
A character moment we get because Lambert is saying like, "Oh, I'm looking for where we're at," and Ripley just keeps repeating, "We're not in our system. It's not our system." That's not her job, but she is very aware. She is situationally aware, and that's established the first line out of her mouth, basically.
If you watch her carefully, she's clearly the only one who doesn't make mistakes throughout. Like who's aware of what's happening, follows the rules, the quarantine thing. Yeah, absolutely.
She's paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes,
like bare minimum, she is paying attention to what is going on.
You're right. Everybody else is checked out because they're on their way home and they're not far. It's a good point.
Yeah. So, all right. So they detach their ship from the main cargo portion of the vessel and head down to the planet. It's rough going entering the atmosphere. And when they land, the ship is damaged. Brett and Parker tell them it will take 25 hours to repair the ship.
It'll take 17.
And
he tells them 25 hours.
Under promise,
you got to do that.
Over deliver.
I say that so often at work. Yeah, and it's true.
Yep.
It's true.
Yeah.
And their technical mumbo jumbo, it just made no sense. Like secondary load sharing unit is out.
Yeah. Well, and
another word for a sister wife, right?
There's a couple of lines in that kind of help us suspend disbelief that they're not going to be able to see everything that's happening on every deck of the ship. Because what is it like? Deck C and D, we don't have visual, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And at one point, Dallas says like, we don't need that to take off.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's they're establishing that we are doing this kind of with one hand tied behind our back. The ship is not fully functioning as a result.
Right. Exactly. So all right, they attempt to contact the source of the transmission, but they're unable to get a response. Dallas makes the decision that he, Kane, and Lambert will go out into the planet's atmosphere to investigate the source, which is within walking distance. 2,000 meters, I think they said.
Yep.
Yeah. So these spacesuits that they were using were not ventilated. It's 1979. Nobody ever thought to put an air conditioner inside a thing for an actor's comfort.
Yeah.
Like Chewbacca. Like that guy was sweating to death.
Oh my God. Yeah.
In that thing. Darth Vader sweating to death in that thing.
Every little Ewok.
Yeah.
They said that the three actors wearing these spacesuits were constantly passing out on set. And they were giving them oxygen to get them back up so they could film again. And they were getting, diminishing returns as these actors are more and more worn out. So they got children to play in this, because there are smaller versions of the suit, to put them next to the ship. So the ship looked bigger. They had children doing it, and the children kept passing out from heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
And they kept giving the children oxygen. And at that point, they changed the suits to be a little bit more comfortable temperature-wise. They did this for days before they changed it.
You gotta love like anything like prior to the 90s in the filmmaking industry where they're like, I don't know, we're just gonna actually do the thing, and if we die, we die.
It's prior to that. What was the movie where the helicopter killed the folks?
That was Twilight Zone. Yeah,
Twilight Zone.
When piece of shit John Landis, who we will be looking into, who made one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
American Werewolf in London. But total piece of shit, John Landis.
And that is a result of that changed a lot of these rules where you couldn't be so flippant with people's health and lives. And I mean, like the fucking salt mines, you're making a film, get in the salt mines.
Well, I mean, Jesus, like the old days, like extras literally would die and they would just continue filming.
Harold Lloyd performed every single one of his stunts. And that seems antiquated and old, but like dude stood perfectly so that the facade of a house could fall over him and not hit him. Like timed it just right so the window, jumping onto trains.
Is that Harold? Or wasn't that Buster Keaton with the
He may
house?
have done it, but I watched a documentary recently about Harold Lloyd and just like, how balls to the wall, how many bones he broke. There was one where he was getting on a train, or there was something, and the narration was like he broke X amount of bones in this take.
Well, like Ben-Hur, there was the guy who died in the chariot race in Ben-Hur.
Oh yeah, right.
And nowadays we look at Tom Cruise and like, oh, he broke his leg on that Mission Impossible movie, and they will show that clip. It'll be on loop on the internet for the rest of time.
Does Tom do his own stunts? Question mark.
Yeah, Tom's going into space. To film a movie.
He is?
Yeah. He's going to film a movie in space.
Wait, what the fuck does that mean in space? What?
He's going into a spaceship and orbiting Earth, and they're going to film a movie while he's up there.
Yeah, rather than using the vomit comet to get him in 0G, he's actually going to be in low Earth orbit. It's kind of cool, but at the same time, like, how much is that insurance costing the studio?
Were they going to the International Space Station?
Yeah. Well, and at this time of recording, there is a Russian actress and a Russian director filming a feature-length film about a doctor in the space station. It's weird.
At the space station, okay.
Yeah. It's really weird. But it's where we're at currently is weird because
we're kind of coming full circle.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that fucking Lex Luthor is basically derailing our trip to the moon.
Yeah, fuck that guy, man.
Yeah,
and just like with everything, the goal is not to expand humankind's horizons or anything. Like immediately, movie making and billionaire joyriding. Like, fuck. So this proves we could have been on our way to the United Federation of Planets. But we're just like, nope. Let's get Kim Kardashian up there. It'll be great.
Yeah, exactly. We could have been Star Trek, but instead we're, I don't know, Futurama.
The Real Housewives of Outer Space. Some fucking bullshit.
Yeah. So all right. They let's see. While they're gone, Ash and Ripley attempt to decipher the transmission. The away team.
The maintenance guys, Brett and Parker, when Ripley says she's going down there, they're all, what is she coming down here for? When previously they were complaining about them not coming down there ever.
Yeah. Women bring bad luck.
But then when she's down there, they have like the vents blasting to make it seem more dire of a situation than it really was, because he just like turns it off after she walks away.
So all right, the away team discover a crashed alien ship. They enter it, losing radio contact with the ship, and Ripley figures out that the signal is a warning, not an SOS.
Did you guys catch her futuristic Converse?
Yeah. They've made those shoes, actually. You used to be able to buy them in like the early 2000s.
Wow.
This donut with a bite out of it shape, they called the ship the Croissant in production. But now it's known as like the Derelict Ship is kind of what it's known in the alien lore.
I thought it kind of looked like two arms like reaching out to grab something.
Yeah. This ship was the mysterious thing. It was the mysterious object for many, many movies. It didn't come back. You don't see it in Aliens. You don't see it in Alien 3 or Resurrection. It took Prometheus for this ship to come back.
Yeah.
That was a great surprise in the movie theater, being like, well, what the fuck is that thing? Oh my God. But it was cool to see that revisited.
I feel like, was Prometheus like, it was a surprise that Prometheus was in the Alien universe when it came out, wasn't it?
It was not a surprise, but it was not clearly stated. The marketing didn't have a xenomorph or a face hugger in it, because there's not really a xenomorph or a face hugger in the movie. There is no alien creature like this alien in that movie.
Yeah. So, all right. So, inside the alien ship, they discover the remains of a giant alien astronaut with the face hugger attached to his face still. He's strapped into a seat. There's some sort of cargo area they find filled with eggs. Kane investigates, and while getting a closer look at one, he sees movement inside, and it hatches. The creature bursts through the helmet and attaches itself to his face.
Kane descends hundreds of feet into this chamber, all the way down on a single line by himself into the chamber. The laser, the blue laser, that is never ever again explained anywhere in the Alien universe. It just looks cool. You guys know where they got that? The Who. The Who had lasers on the filming, the same set after they were like done using them. They delivered them back to where they picked them up, and they ended up using them so you could see the fog.
That's funny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So all right. So the team brings Kane back to the ship. By the way, so the alien egg, where you could, so a couple things. So on the marketing, the famous poster with the egg, and it's like the kind of like grid darkness space thing, that the famous poster, that's just an egg.
Yeah, it's a chicken egg.
That's just a chicken egg. And then also the egg that he's looking at, where you can see the face hugger in there. Ridley Scott put on a rubber glove and stuck his hand in and wiggled it around with backlighting.
Yeah, and there's like chickens and oysters and other gunk in there. And that whole sequence is filmed upside down with a mirror. So because you see the liquid, the condensation dripping upwards.
Right.
So it gives you a really otherworldly appearance. It's really clever because the whole thing is confusing to look at the first time you see it.
It is. It all feels very, very strange and alien. And honestly, the shots where they're walking around and the space jockeys there and everything, like that looks amazing. It holds up incredibly well.
Because it's a practical set. I mean, they rebuilt that whole thing for Prometheus. There's a really great Prometheus documentary about the filming of it that's like 3.5 hours long. And that goes into a lot of detail about the original set. They almost cut that out of the movie because the production costs of that set were as much as the production costs of all of the interior shots in the Nostromo.
Wow.
You use it for one brief moment, and that's it.
It really makes the movie. Like without it, you don't get the sense of the larger universe nearly as much. All right. So they bring Kane back to the ship where they enter like the pressurization chamber. Ripley refuses to open the hatch to the rest of the ship to let them in because of the creature attack to Kane. It would be against quarantine procedures. However, Ash, who is at the hatch, overrides her command and manually opens it up, letting them in. Then we cut to Ash and Dallas cutting the helmet off of Kane to find a crab-like creature attached to his face. They scan him, find out it has a tube shoved down his throat, and they decide to remove the creature. They try to cut off one of its legs and discover that its blood is acid, which eats through 3 levels of the ship's interior. They decide to simply leave it on him for now.
So the acid blood is interesting. I've read somewhere that O'Bannon kind of painted himself into a corner, and he needed the third act to have higher stakes. Because why can't you just shoot this thing? Why can't we just shoot it and kill it? The acid blood was the answer to that, because it can't be indestructible and unkillable completely. But the acid blood was like, well, if you put a hole in this thing, it'll put a hole in the spaceship. So you're kind of in this like prisoner's dilemma kind of situation of like, if we attack it, it's gonna nest. It's like defense mechanism will kill us. That's
well,
a
it's
really
like when they strap
thing.
a bomb to a protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Do you save their life or everybody else's around?
Yeah. And that's a really interesting like production thing that just kind of got this whole universe kind of kicked off with like acid blood. There you go, bam! It's terrifying now. That and the rape metaphor. So not to get too deep into that, but they distinctly chose John Hurt to be the first victim because it was this very strong sexual metaphor for invasive rape. And they didn't want it to be a woman victim because they wanted to bring men into that experience of like, this is how violated you would feel. And isn't that terrifying, losing your ability to have any
That's the
control.
first scary element before what it is.
Because it's
you
more
have
than
no
just
more
getting
autonomy.
eaten. Yeah, you're not just getting eaten by a thing. It is sexually invading you in a way that's foreign to us as humans who procreate, you know. But yeah, it's such a creative alien thing. Yeah. Anyways,
absolutely.
I can't pour enough praise onto this movie.
All the old white guys die, pretty much.
No, that's what I love. That all the white dudes die, and we're just left with
first.
Yeah, they all.
And so many of them die, not so much out of hubris, but like they just like old white men. They think they know the way to do it.
Being a hero.
The old, get out of my way. Get out of my way. I'll do it.
Or John Hurt being curious and an adventurer. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. If they had just done their job and been like, all right, there's no one alive here. We're just leaving. They would have been fine.
The vibe is intense. Let's
It was
go.
it was at this point in the movie where Parker and Brett decide to work faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
After witnessing the acid blood.
The Union boss showed up that day.
Yeah. So, all right. Ripley confronts Ash about overriding her authority. He claims that it was his privilege as science officer. Then sometime later, they discover that the creature has detached itself from Kane and is missing.
Yeah. Well, and Ripley says when they're off the ship, I'm the commanding officer. I'm in charge. So, yeah, he very much breached protocol.
Absolutely.
At least as far as we know at this point in the movie.
Right. We don't realize that he has that he basically has, what was it, Secret Rule 9 something?
Yeah. Crew expendable.
His ultimate downfall was trying to figure out how to answer the question, "Are you a robot?"
They asked him to play tic-tac-toe and he couldn't beat himself.
He's like,
how does this painting make you feel?
I'm trying to sign in, but I don't know how to answer this.
So, all right, they go looking for the face hugger throughout the ship, discover that it's now died. Ash is excited to test and dissect it. Ripley wants to just leave it on the planet.
I love the scare of it falling on Ripley from the vent. It is so dumb, but so satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It makes me wonder if he threw it at her from like off screen.
And just before that, Dallas kicks over that can or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Accidentally, that was a jumper too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The scares hold up really well in this film.
Yeah. At this point, the movie is off to the races, man.
Oh yeah, it's going.
It's no longer sleepy, you know.
Yeah, it is
As
just
soon as
going
they're
now.
exactly.
So all right, let's see. Kane leaves Dallas leaves the final decision up to Ash, and Ash decides to keep the face hugger. We find out that Ash is a new science officer and they haven't worked with him before. Brett and Parker finish the repairs enough that they can leave the planet, even though it's not completely done. This is what you're talking about. It's like, it's good enough. We can go. Ripley's trying to keep them there and then attempt to get rid of the thing.
Yeah.
They redock with the cargo vessel. Lambert calculates that they're 10 months away from Earth. They'll have to go back into cryogenic sleep. Kane wakes up and they all decide to have one last meal before freezing themselves for the return ship. I can't decide whether this saved Earth or doomed the crew or both. Like, if they had just cryogenically froze immediately, the alien probably would have frozen too. It wouldn't have burst out of him. They would have gotten back to Earth.
Yeah. Like we saw from the fossilized, from the skeleton, like they could die. You know what I mean? It's possible for that to happen. It's not like they're immortal.
Right. That was
the skeleton even still had a skeletal one on it.
And the alien itself, going deeper into the lore, they go dormant. Even if the alien had burst out of its chest, it would have probably laid dormant for however many decades or however much time.
I thought it was more like Thoreau just said that, like, eventually it would starve. But
Oh, no. Well, no. I'm just saying if they had, well, no, because if they had frozen themselves before the alien hatched out of John
it would
Hurt,
have been frozen inside him. Yeah.
Right. And they would have arrived on Earth. He would have unfrozen and then it would have burst out.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, would Earth then have been doomed or
yes.
Yeah.
There are some great comic books. Dark Horse used to have the Alien property before Marvel bought everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Disney bought Marvel, but which also the alien queen is a Disney princess.
Oh.
But there's an alien comic called Earth War, and that's essentially what happens is one alien makes it into an orbital station and somebody tries to escape and the alien gets in with them. Yeah.
Well, okay, so do you guys remember the teaser poster for Alien 3? It was a picture of Earth and it said, "This time they're coming home."
Mm.
Don't remember that.
Yeah. Prior to finding out that no, they don't go to Earth at all. We're going to go visit Rock.
We're going to a penal colony somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, everyone expected after Aliens for the third one to be Aliens on Earth.
And at some point, if I get a chance to dedicate or to choose that year in our patron only podcast, I'm going to choose Alien 3 because there is a fuck ton of shit to unpack just in production notes. That movie had like 5 or 6 different scripts that became one script.
Yeah, that movie's history is crazy. And it's crazy. I forget David Fincher was working that early sometimes.
Yeah. Each one of those scripts is interesting, but what it became, the cobbled together patchwork that it was, is a disaster. I still watch it. I enjoy it, but it's not good.
No, it's not a good movie, but there's a lot good inside it.
Yeah.
There's some moment to moment stuff that's really great, but the film itself is just a hot mess.
Well, and Sigourney Weaver is incredible.
Oh God, she's
in
so
everything.
Good.
Yeah.
Alien Resurrection too. There's moments, but that movie's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I love Ron Perlman and I love Sigourney Weaver, but man, that movie is a mess.
Yeah, it's a terrible, terrible mess. That's a Joss Whedon joint.
Yeah, it is.
They're written by him anyways.
And it suffers as a result. That's one of the first times where you can see the real seams in his ability to write ensemble casts.
Yeah, he's such a I have such a complex relationship with his work. Him as a person can fuck off, but his work I have a very complex relationship with.
Yeah.
So all right. Let's see. Anyways, they're eating and suddenly an alien bursts out of Kane's chest.
It is happening.
Yeah.
Yes. So go ahead, Brian.
As they famously, this scene was a surprise to everybody on set. They had John Hurt strapped to a fake version of his body, and they pushed the alien up out of him.
And so, like, they knew
iconic,
the cast knew an alien was going to come out, but they had no idea that they were going to detonate a bunch of squibs to splatter them all with blood.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's everything's a first take there, and that's their actual genuine reactions.
And just like Carrie and her hand coming out of the ground, it's now a staple, a trope. It's now, we just saw it last week in Monkey Shines. The last jump scare of the movie is alien.
Yeah.
It's just the monkey.
And I mean, so there were 2 takes of this. The first time they didn't get the alien clean out of the shirt. So they had to go back and get everybody covered in blood, still stressed out, and stick the alien back out of the shirt.
Yeah.
So they did it again to them. Yaphet Kotto has said that he went home and locked himself in a room and just sat alone for the rest of the day because he was so stressed out by how this experience was.
I did the same thing when I rode that Stratosphere in Las Vegas. I have such a fear of heights. Yeah. I took like an hour in the bar by myself.
Oh man.
Just rethinking a lot of shit.
I can't watch this scene without thinking about Spaceballs.
Same.
I mean,
of course. We even sang
my
we were
God.
singing the song along to it while it was happening.
Hello,
Every
my baby.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God.
And I love that they got John Hurt to be in Spaceballs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all right. They have a small ceremony for Kane. Nobody says anything at his funeral. Nobody wants to say any words. It's so like wow.
I mean, it's kind of real.
Yeah.
Like, what do you say about your coworker who dies at work and you're still at work?
Right.
And you have to bury them at work. Like,
it's not like he's a loved one. It's not like they knew him well. He was this dude they worked with.
Well, and space travel takes so long. I know time is different in space, but it's probably something that happens, on these like cargo hauling situations. without it being an alien or nefarious or anything. Like, oh, it took us 4 years. This dude died.
Well, and I assume that under normal conditions, you freeze the body, you bring them back with you, and they have a burial on Earth with their family. But in this situation, like,
no,
what do you do? Is another one of those things going to burst out of him?
Yeah, at this point, they're like, fuck it. Like, get him out of here. Yeah. So, all right, they go looking for the creature with a cattle prod, a motion detector, and a net.
You got to love they have a cattle prod on the ship.
Yeah.
I love
a butterfly net.
I love when the technology is so vast and futuristic, but the weaponry is so medieval and like just so old.
Yeah.
No lasers. You know what I mean? Like no phasers on stun situation.
And no
cattle prod. This was used for cows on Earth.
Well, and I have to assume they have guns, but they've realized that they should not use them due to the hull breach.
Yeah.
Problem.
Right. But again, to my point, you're talking about guns. Guns as we know them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They don't have lasers.
You're using weapons as we know them now, but everything else is very futuristic.
Well, I mean, even in the sequel, the Space Marines all use weapons with actual bullets. They don't have lasers. They don't have, photon torpedoes.
Hicks has a shotgun. He's carrying like a pump shotgun with him.
Aliens.
Yes. Firearms are not practical in space. But that's not what I mean.
Oh no. But we're saying
we're agreeing with you that the technology is like, where are the lasers? Where are the fucking flying cars in this universe, man?
I've got some arrows. I got a very small flamethrower.
Well, I mean, that
I have things that would get me out of situations on Earth.
That comes down to, like, I mean, in all the fucking superhero movies we do, like, people just fight each other hand to hand constantly. It's like, you people, like, you're aliens. You have lasers.
Firing guns that are clearly impenetrable.
Or you could just fly Superman up and throw somebody back down at the Earth, You're Superman. Like, why are you punching anybody? Just throw him.
Right?
Kick everyone. I would never throw a punch.
Just because they have to set up barricades for the public to watch, like it's a parade.
So, all right. They discovered Jones the cat instead, giving us a jump scare.
This is great. Getting a cat to hiss on command. They did this with a German Shepherd behind a screen.
Oh no!
They pulled a blind up,
Germans,
and the cat was walking towards the thing, and they scared the shit out of it with a dog. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Does Jones get to go into cry? It doesn't seem
he does.
He does. So he does go into sleep as well.
Yeah. Because he's in the sequel. He's in Aliens.
Yeah, that's her comfort in Aliens, and you lucky thing, and she leaves him behind on Earth and goes back out to space.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We never saw him come out of his little cat bed like first.
I assume that he was sleeping with somebody.
Yeah, no. In the very last end, she gets in while she's holding him. She's like, "You're staying with me, Jones."
Yeah.
I need a cat right now. I'm so bad.
Just so for 10 months, it's just this cat doing that kneading thing on her chest, where they sort of.
I'd take 10 months of that.
Yeah.
So Jones runs away. They make Brett go after the cat while they continue to search for the alien.
They make Brett go after the cat.
He goes into
That's a fun line. Fun line.
The chain condensation room.
Right. What is the chain room?
The wet chains.
The rain and chain chamber, I called it.
Yeah. Speaking of chain, I was waiting to see Chang in the vents. Like the back of my Chang.
So I assume that this is some sort of water or air processing thing because of all the condensation. But who fucking knows, man? Who knows what this room is for?
I know that they're hauling ore. It may have something to do with loading ore.
I don't think that they're ever on the ore part of the ship. They're only on the Nostromo because they go from Nostromo to shuttle back to Nostromo, and then they continue hauling their ore.
Well, no. Doesn't the Nostromo Doesn't the Nostromo itself go down to the planet? Because seems much bigger than the shuttle. No, but the Nostromo breaks off from the ore portion.
Oh, I guess you're right.
It's like a semi hooked up to a trailer.
You're right. The Nostromo does leave the ore and then land.
Like they unhitch the truck part to the trailer,
and the shuttle is what we end up in at the very last moments of the movie. That's right.
There was a cool note at the beginning, which I don't think I'd noticed before, that the cargo, the Nostromo is the cargo puller, but the cargo,
the tugboat, if you will,
is actually refining. It's processing the ore as they're going.
Oh, as they're going.
Interesting.
It said cargo refinery refinery processing 20 million tons of mineral ore.
That's really cool, actually.
So yeah, not just pulling a bunch of ore, but actually getting shit done while it's floating
like as
through
far
space.
as this universe, how efficient. Like that's really cool.
Yeah, that's
the
a
guys
cool
who mine
detail.
it also refine it, and it shows up ready to use. That's neat.
Back on Earth.
But isn't there a moment where I believe it's Ripley's? Somebody says like we've got to abandon the cargo or the.
Well, no, we have to abandon the ship.
Lambert says it. Let's just get in the shuttle and abandon the ship. And there's only 3 spots.
I know. I swore there was a one of those lines like in other movies, like we have to let the cargo go.
I mean, she might say it at that point, but like but she means the Nostromo as well.
Yeah,
because
Lambert wants to bail.
Yeah,
I see. It's just it's happened lots of times in movies, and sometimes it's dramatic. Of where
the only reason why they don't is because there's 4 of them, and one of them would have to draw straws.
Oh, that's right.
And they don't realize. They don't realize that ash doesn't really even need to be frozen.
Yeah.
Smithers is like, but sir, there's 2 seats. I like to put my feet up.
So all right. So then Brett gets killed by the alien, which is now the size of a large man.
So we see the alien earlier in the sequence hanging from the chains. You have to look really closely, and it is balled up and hanging above him, which is a cool detail that I've missed many, 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 many times until one day I caught it.
Yeah,
I saw it. It is pretty cool. Totally.
Yeah, and just the way it unwraps itself and comes down.
And just settles down silently behind him. Yeah. They had the actor take Tai Chi lessons so that he could move slowly. And it paid off, man. That's some Tai Chi level, like
very interesting movements that it has. Yeah.
So all right. So Brett's dead. And this is the first time we see the mouth and the second mouth come out.
This is the first time we see the alien.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
I mean, last time we saw it, it was smaller than a cat.
And as far as Jaws in space, like you mentioned earlier, like, it was the same kind of build-up. Took its time before it showed you.
We're at, an hour when the alien first shows up?
Yeah, we're almost halfway through this thing.
Yeah.
I think so,
in an hour 56 runtime?
Yeah. So, so now the crew meets. They know Brett's missing. They discover that they assume the alien took him through the air shafts. They decide they're going to use flamethrowers against it, as they don't have much of anything else that won't breach the hull. Dallas talks to Mother, who can't or won't tell him how to get rid of the alien. Sorry, go ahead, Al.
The way Parker was talking, it sounded like off screen. Maybe they had witnessed part of Brett being taken away, because
you
they're talking about how
scream.
Yeah, they're talking about how big it is. It's like is bigger than a man, or something like that. But yeah, I feel like they must have walked in and saw him get dragged up into the ducts.
That makes sense. Yeah,
because they are just around the corner, and they kind of just said go grab him around the corner.
Yeah, and he's looking for Jones. So all right. At this point, Dallas decides to go into the air shafts to look for it himself, while the crew communicates with him over radio and track the alien with the motion sensor. I love that it had the same little bleeps that they use in the second movie too.
Yeah,
like, it's in the room, man, it's in the room.
Game over.
Game over, man.
Again, they did it in The Simpsons beautifully.
So
Santa's little helper was up in the vents.
Tom Skerritt is the hero, as far as we can tell.
Yeah.
According to every movie that's ever come before this. Harrison Ford turned down the role of Dallas.
Good.
Good. Yeah, seriously. But thinking of that, like watching this movie in 79, like they're all right, we're going to turn this thing around. Like thinking of the Predator, Arnold at the end of Predator, he fights it in hand-to-hand combat covered in mud.
Well, yeah,
like,
and even if you know, like, okay, we've got like a solid 40 minutes of the movie left, like, oh, at this point he's going to fight it, maybe it'll get away, and like,
he's going to get a nasty scar from that acid or something.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to get a knife in his teeth.
No,
nope.
This is the biggest shocker, is Tom Skerritt dying at this point.
Yeah.
Because he was the lead. He was the lead of the film as far as anybody knew.
Well, now that John Hurt is already dead.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. And Dallas just ends up getting straight up killed by the alien in the vents.
Yeah. And outmaneuvered and strategized by this alien creature that we don't see until the single greatest shot of the alien in all of these movies.
But yeah, I mean, again, they're truckers. They're just space truckers. So, you know, obviously nobody could prepare for this particular alien, but they're just not.
Yeah.
That's not their skill set.
He's a mall ninja. He's like, I got this.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I have a replica katana in my bunk. I'll go get it.
Yeah. Well, and
he's essentially the foreman of a hauling operation.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe he's a kind of a rough and tumble guy.
Sure.
But he's not like fighting an alien level guy.
He's not a commando, you know? It's not Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And fighting is one thing, but like, going into a ventilation system and hunting them, like that's out of his pay grade.
Well, absolutely.
And their tactics seem sound. We can scare it with the flames, and we'll find it, and we'll scare it down this thing and out of the airlock. This
much
makes
like
perfect
the
sense.
way you would a possum. All those ideas were the same way as getting a raccoon out of your house.
Yeah,
we're gonna catch it on a cup and a magazine, and we're gonna toss it out the window.
Light it on fire. All right. Okay, now.
Oh God, we burned the house down.
Right.
So, all right, the remaining crew meet. Ripley is now the ranking officer. Lambert wants to abandon the ship, but their escape shuttle won't hold all four of them. Ripley comes up with the plan to corner it, decompress the area it's in, and blow it into space.
Yup.
She goes to talk to Mother herself at this point and discovers that Ash has been secretly ordered to bring the alien back to Earth with the crew considered expendable.
It is, again, Alien Isolation. There's a DLC extra game that you can play called Crew Expendable, where you play as Ripley.
Oh, wow.
And the crew of the Nostromo. And it's really, really fun. And it's impossible. I've never beaten anything in this game besides like my head against my like wall, because I just keep getting terrified and eaten by the alien.
Yeah. So
Special Order 937.
937. This is the point where we discover that Ash is the secondary antagonist.
Yeah. Which is established throughout the rest of the Alien universe, that there's not just the alien to worry about. It is the corporation and its android biomechanical whatever robots.
Mm-hmm. Well, and see that was one of the great things about the sequel is then there's another android as played by what's his name?
It's Bishop.
Lance
Hendrickson.
Lance Hendrickson.
Yeah.
And you expect him to again betray Ripley, but instead it's Paul Reiser that betrays her.
Yeah. Well, and again, the corporation is truly the villain because Ash is just he's an automaton, you know?
Yeah.
He's not making choices.
He does clely seem to be malfunctioning at the end, like being a little glitchy, and he's like sweating the milk and everything. But
life's hard in space for an android. Start sweating that milk, man. You got to take a break.
Hard out here for...
So all right, Ash attacks her. They fight.
He shoves a magazine in her mouth.
He's going to choke her to death on a magazine. Yeah,
an old school People magazine.
Because they don't have the internet.
So this makes me wonder if this
subscription service.
Is this a way to like skirt the rules of robotics? What's that Asimov's 3 rules that you can't harm humans or whatever? He's like, this was your subscription, you know.
Absorb the information, the infotainment.
Because I mean, he could have very easily just like broken her neck or like depressurized the room that Mother is in. You know,
He could have done any
Disturbing,
number of
and
things to
nobody
kill her.
knew
Yeah.
that was disturbing because you hadn't seen it before, you know.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy fuck, that's a terrible way to go.
It really is. Yeah. So all right. She's saved by Parker and Lambert. In the process, Parker knocks Ash's head off, and we
with
discover
a
he's
fire
an
extinguisher, right? He's just like brute force.
It's just like it's a robot. Jesus.
I don't think we mentioned this earlier. Ripley and Dallas have a conversation at one point where she asks him, do you trust him? He goes, I mean, I don't know. It's not my job to do whatever. He goes, have you served with him before? He goes, I served with the same science officer for 5 trips. And then and the last day before we sent out, the company sent Ash to be our science officer.
Mm-hmm.
So the company was aware of this distress signal probably all along, which is an interesting thing. Like it's probably not a coincidence that he got sent.
So they knew they were going to be stopped. So the company probably knew they were going to be stopping them for the signal on the way back.
Yeah, which is why he makes a very strong argument from the very beginning and says, Mother is calling you. There's a lot of things, and we'll. Not that we'll get there in the podcast, but like you see these things in the prequel movies, Prometheus and Covenant, that the company is very aware throughout that there are aliens that exist in the universe.
Yeah. Well, so that's a big question too, is like, that was one of my unanswered questions. Sticking to just this movie, it was an unanswered question for me, is how aware is humanity of alien species?
I think that maybe somewhat, which goes back to the point of that's why these blue collar guys didn't really, they had no business responding to a distress signal.
And they also they didn't seem flabbergasted by the spaceship. They weren't like, oh my God. They were like,
right.
Whoa, this is an interesting thing.
So I could believe that contact with some ETs has happened
with something. And
nothing like this.
Again, it's not in this movie, but Alien and Aliens kind of. They're a very small universe compared to all these other alien properties. There's the mention of, what is this? Another bug hunt?
Mm-hmm.
So they may have encountered lesser beings that aren't like as conscious or as aware as us or as the alien even.
Yeah, exactly. That's more, more on the level of, kind of probably Starship Troopers level kind of stuff.
Yeah, space cockroaches are not the alien.
Yeah, exactly.
This is designed for killing.
Yeah.
So they reactivate Ian Holmes' head and talk to him for a
bit. Just enough to be able to play it like an old Nintendo or something.
I mean, this movie, there are a couple of things that don't hold up like the rest. And the moment where the head gets knocked off and he's going like, bah, 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 making sounds. But man, his head, the moment that he starts talking, I love the way that they were able to like edit this into a sequence that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's clearly got his head through a board,
Yeah, obviously he's crouched under a table. Yeah,
but I'm still able to believe all of it.
Yeah,
sure. I ain't got nobody.
I read an anecdote that in a early screening of this, that an usher passed out when his head came off his body. It was so shocking.
Yeah, remember when fainting was a thing?
Right. Yeah, honestly, I think
3 people fainted. What?
Not enough food, and they were on that like cocaine and cigarettes diet.
Well, I know it as a physical phenomenon, but it's like,
but I mean,
watch The Exorcist, and
right? Yeah, that used to be a thing. Like people fainting in movies.
There were people that had heart attacks during, what was that Passion of the Christ movie?
Oh God!
I mean,
heart
also
attacks, I understand.
They were killing Jesus on screen. That can be very intense for some people.
Sure.
So I get that.
Generally, fainting, if it's not for a physiological reason, like you said, low blood sugar, dehydration, or something, it's a response that your mind and body uses when fight or flight is involved somehow.
Yeah,
like we don't know what to do. So a movie.
Well,
A movie about a possessed little girl made your brain just shut the fuck down.
Yeah, the only modern things I ever see about this are all these videos that they take of people posters and like the slingshot where they're fainting during. That's the only time I see anyone fainting in a modern setting from fear.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we used to do it in the movies because I've seen a lot of scary movies and I've never come close.
And I don't think that those like roller coaster slingshot kind of videos are necessarily fear. I think that's blood pressure. That's lack of blood pressure to your brain because your body is working overtime to pump blood up. That's why I say if you're ever in a high G situation, clench your butt cheeks really hard and it'll make your blood go up a little bit higher than it does normally. So you'll have a few more seconds before you pass out.
Right.
Because gravity is working against you. Your blood is pooling at your heart level or lower.
And your oxygen intake is different.
Plus all that cocaine.
Yeah, all the cocaine definitely didn't help. But another anecdote was that people were literally moving from the front of the theater to the back to get further away from the screen.
Again,
which is hilarious.
1979. It's not like
hilarious.
The Great Train or or the Edison's like films of the beach, and people are like, "Whoa, the waves!"
For me, Josh and Al, at least, this was in our lifetimes.
That train's not going to stop. It's coming right at me.
Yeah, the closest thing I can think of is kids lightsaber fighting during Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
I want to be involved, man.
Right. So, all right. When they reactivate his head, he tells them that he was assigned to assure the creature makes it back to Earth. He sympathizes with their situation, but like, too bad. The alien's awesome, guys. So they turn him off, and Parker burns him up.
Flamethrower finally got its work in, man.
Yeah. Ripley decides they're going to go ahead and go into the shuttle and blow up the ship. Parker and Lambert get ambushed and killed by the creature while getting life support supplies together. Ripley overhears this on the radio.
Why couldn't Lambert turn around, or why couldn't she?
Fear.
It was fear.
She was just paralyzed by fear.
That's what I had said. Yeah.
Well, and her screams.
Andrea thought we missed something.
Drew Parker into the room to watch this happen, and the alien kills him first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And Lambert was written to be the audience surrogate. So she's the one who's constantly scared, constantly like, let's get the hell out of here, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Yaphet Kotto is the most heroic out of everybody in this whole thing.
Absolutely.
He is ready. He has put aside all of his grudges, and he is like, let's fucking kill this thing. You and me, girl. We're going to do this. We got to make sure that Lambert doesn't die.
Yeah. And it was refreshing because, as we all know, usually the black guy dies first.
That's a classic horror trope.
I wonder how 1979 audiences felt about the fact that the black dude and two ladies were the ones that
were making it. Yeah. All the white dudes. It's like, but white dudes run everything and everything's perfect.
They're going to start a space colony somewhere. It's going to be very exciting.
They're going to teach critical race theory, and it's just going to be good.
So Ripley makes her way to the bridge. She initiates the self-destruct sequence. It gives her 5 minutes to turn it off and 10 minutes until the ship blows.
I love the 5 minutes to turn off the self-destruct sequence. It adds so much more anxiety to it being 10 minutes till the ship explodes.
Absolutely.
You can change your mind, but you've got 5 minutes to do it.
Right. There's a countdown to be worried about.
After 5 minutes, the ship's blowing no matter what.
And it just keeps interrupting at random intervals. It's like, dude, look, I got 5 minutes. Shut up. I'm trying to concentrate.
So she grabs the cat and tries to get to the shuttle, but finds the alien blocking her way. So she goes back to the bridge to turn off the self-destruct, but she does not make it in time.
Moments.
Seconds.
Away.
Yeah, she had seconds.
Yeah.
Well, and it's all these it's supposed to take multiple people to do all these steps, kind of like two keys in the submarine.
Yeah.
And she's like these hydraulic arms that she has to pressurize and little cylinders that she has to drop in. There's a lot of Rube Goldberg type devices that have to be established for this to work.
And she had to take the time to read the instructions.
Yes, she
true.
had to look at it and make sure she put in the code correctly and everything. And
Buy the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she just heads back towards the shuttle. Luckily, the alien's not there in her way, so she gets in the shuttle, launches it, and gets away just as the ship blows.
To everyone's great relief in the audience, we are
Yeah.
all so happy that she made it away from that alien
She's gonna
and
make
that ship.
it after
Yep.
all.
She's in the shuttle. She's getting undressed. I would like to point out
So
that
many layers.
that 1979 Sigourney Weaver was indeed a hottie, but she did not have much of an ass. For all
No.
those ass lovers out there,
She's a bean
they're
pot,
going to be
beanstalk.
disappointed in those panties.
Well, and she's still so badass.
Oh God, yeah.
In this, like, because she's very exposed. Obviously, she's wearing like a tank top and like underwear.
Mhm.
But even in this, I'm like, yeah, for a wiry woman, I wouldn't fuck with Sigourney Weaver, man. She just
Hell
survived
no.
all of this and is still like, yeah, this is a great like feminine hero moment.
There was, I don't know if you, Brian, may be too young. I only know you weren't alive for much of the 80s. But I remember it was when Aliens came out, she was referred to as Rambolina a lot.
That's the curly hair, man.
Really?
Like Gene, I remember
perm.
Gene Shalit specifically saying that. I remember reading it in newspaper reviews of Aliens.
Rambolina. In a celebrity deathmatch type sort of way, I think the only one that could take on Ripley is Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
I still put my money on Ripley. My two.
Oh,
like,
I didn't mean she would win, but you know what I mean? Matching
Oh yeah.
up. There are so many great female antagonists from horror movies we love, but yeah, Sarah Connor and Ripley.
As far as like survivability, in my mind, the two greatest protagonists of all time are Ellen Ripley and Indiana Jones. Nothing can kill these people.
That is true.
Laurie Strode.
She's
about to drop in another Halloween movie.
Laurie Strode. In this, which I would like to point out, this is a sequel to the second sequel to the sequel of the first Halloween.
Yes. I know. It's weird because H2O is one of my favorite.
Yeah,
ones,
but it doesn't exist in the new timeline.
No, because that Laurie did not become this Laurie.
No, not at all.
She was like the dean of students at a college.
Did Jason Voorhees like cut a rip in the time-space continuum with a knife?
He went to. I mean, he went to space.
He
with
did go
Jason
to
Voorhees,
space.
but
He found a like a wormhole.
oh, but not
and
Mike
traveled back.
Myers.
Yeah.
Mike Myers. Yeah. So,
sorry, Mike Myers. My bad.
Yeah. We know.
So she's getting ready to get into the cryo chamber when she just happens upon the alien tucked away in his little cubby, curled up.
Yeah.
Little feller's all
species.
Little feller ate a bunch and now he's all tuckered out.
Similar to your question from earlier, is the alien had she not discovered the alien before going into cryosleep, would it have died, or would it have been there when someone discovered her and taken the rest of the ship? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think it probably would have been fine. She says she's 10 weeks away from the frontier. That thing ain't dying in 10 weeks.
Yeah.
It's true.
So
it is true. Look it up.
So she slowly puts on a spacesuit. She uses some gas to flush it out of its little hidey hole, and opens the airlock door.
Oh, she forgot the harpoon gun.
Oh yeah, she
grabs the harpoon gun.
Yeah,
which is on the shuttle for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason they decided she needed a harpoon on the shuttle.
Hey, if it worked for Nantucket whalers
Right.
in the 17th century.
What if there's some space whales?
We're going to space for a few years. What do you got? I got my harpoon.
Well, this is just part one of Ripley as Ahab.
Is that an indoor harpoon? Yeah, that's true.
Because it very much becomes her whale. That's why we see that in the sequel.
Yeah.
When I told Jude that by the fourth movie she's a half alien clone, he was like, "No, no, I can't watch that."
Oh, you got to take him on this adventure, man! I'm excited.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it gets blasted, but it grabs on. So she shoots it with the gun, but then that grabs onto that
The
locks
door
it onto the ship,
closes,
and the door
it
closes. And so the alien starts trying to crawl into the ship's engines. So she blasts the thrusters,
Yeah.
and it blasts it off into space. Even when it was floating away in space, I was like, I would watch that thing until it was a dot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the rear view.
So her and Jones get back into the cryogenic chamber, and she records her final log entry, and they go to sleep on the way back to Earth. Roll credits. Certainly, she'll arrive at Earth within 10 weeks.
The last line of the film
Is
come on, cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cute.
Yeah.
Ripley is singing "You Are My Lucky Star" to
Oh, yeah.
herself to keep herself calm, and I guess they had to pay a shit ton of money to secure the rights of this.
Wow.
And it was Sigourney Weaver's idea. She's like, I should be like singing something as I'm like to calm myself down.
Yeah.
Quietly to myself to do this, because that's what a normal person would do in this situation. That's what a real person, like, calm yourself down. Don't panic. Don't panic, because you'll pass out.
Yeah. But it's funny that they would pay so much money when they could just use like Itsy Bitsy Spider or something.
Right?
Yeah.
For nothing.
Huh.
2 notes on the credits. They take less than 3 minutes, which is
the credits
refreshing.
Yeah. Because it was 79 and they didn't have 750 CGI artists to credit.
I was going to say animators.
Yeah.
Also, they credit the hairdresser and the cat trainer before the cast.
Nice.
Fucking A.
Hell yeah. Well, because the cast, isn't the cast listed in the very beginning?
Yeah, there is.
Yes.
So this is still in the era of listing the credits before the movie.
Yeah.
And I think the cast was like the last scroll to go.
There's only 7 of them.
Yeah. 9.
9. Oh, that's right. The alien and the cat. Mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good for them. Obviously, you can't make movies without actors. There's no doubt. But a lot of people work harder.
Yeah.
Which,
of course.
The Hollywood strike is about to really kick off right now. IATSE is like gearing up for a serious strike. We'll see what happens with that.
It's about to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see what happens.
Good luck.
Last time we had a strike, it inadvertently led to a Trump presidency.
It's true.
The writer's strike?
Yep, the writer's strike. Yep. The writer's strike is what led to the Apprentice.
Oh my God.
Being greenlit, which is what led to Trump becoming a larger celebrity in the 21st century, rather than that old real estate dude who filed for bankruptcy a bunch.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah.
And if he had gotten some Emmys, I don't think he would have even run. I know I've said that before, but like if people, because the world always loved to laugh at him. He's a clown.
Right.
So, since he hit the scene in the 70s, he was always a joke. So they purposefully didn't give him awards, and that makes him mad.
Well, that plus, have you guys
the Correspondence Dinner?
The Correspondence Dinner.
That
is a super villain origin story right there. That is like the moment that.
Yeah, the Lion King music to Obama describing his birth certificate. Yeah.
Ooh. And
calling
him out by name.
Calling out Trump by name, and Trump sitting there just glaring.
And then not having the dinner.
Yeah, he never went again.
Yeah, never went again. He didn't have a Correspondence Dinner. Like that is the moment where he decided he was going to fuck up the entire world because of this.
Yeah, the king who did not appreciate gestures at all. Off with their head.
Yeah. So, anyways, Alien, pretty good movie.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, man. Definitely top 5 for me. All around film. I love this movie.
Great.
It's a damn good movie.
I have a newly spare room in the house, and I set the projector up, so I watched it pretty large.
Oh wow!
Like a small movie theater screen.
Nice.
And it was great. Yeah.
I bet. That's awesome. I have a few minor unanswered questions. Why were the facehuggers on the alien ship to begin with? Did they find them and were they bringing them back somewhere? Like,
That's a question that's not answered yet.
yeah.
If Ridley Scott makes a third one in his prequel trilogy, like he's planning on, we may get an answer. But we are slowly having the origins of the alien itself revealed. It is not a naturally occurring creature.
Genetically engineered?
It is, yeah. So the space jockey engineers literally they play with biological life and are the creators of life on the Earth and throughout the universe.
Yeah, obviously some people wanted that alien brought back for science or weaponry.
Oh yeah,
purposes.
yeah. I'm absolutely certain that the corporation planned on making them into some sort of like super soldier weapon type thing.
Right,
Yeah.
which is why they installed Ian Holmes' character at the last minute.
The ending of Alien Covenant, it is revealed that the company knows that there is a creature that exists and there are in embryonic form. But this is before the ship crashes on LV-426, which is the planet that we go to in Alien.
Maybe the whole mission was contrived, Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, these guys are expendable. They're just haulers.
Yeah.
No one will miss them. And it's true.
It's
when
true.
we see them in Aliens.
We're not going to send a ship just to extract some eggs.
Right. Well, and spoilers, Ripley doesn't get back to Earth for 56 years.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, yeah. She's in cryogenic sleep for 56 years.
Which, and again, Alien Isolation, the video game, is about her daughter trying to get answers. Her daughter is the only person that is aware of this and tries to follow up, which is really interesting. She gets a job for Weyland-Yutani and sort of hops around the galaxy trying to figure out where she was last. It's a great story. Even if you watch YouTube videos on people playing it through, it is canon and it fits really well into the universe.
Oh, cool.
With some great reveals.
I don't
know. One other question I have. Do you think the alien died in space? Or did it just float around until it happened upon like a ship or a meteor? Like, it was fine outside of the ship. Like, it was okay. It wasn't exploding. It wasn't seeming like it was running out of breath. It was just kind of hanging out in space.
So, again, I fucking love Alien, and I think about this movie universe way too much. I have a theory that the alien does not need to eat people to live. I think that it can process anything to create cellular stuff. So by being exposed to atmosphere, it stays alive, and anytime that it's not able to have atmosphere or whatever, it goes into like a stasis. And and the moment it's like a bug that when it dries out and you give it a little bit of water and all of a sudden the bug comes back to life, you're like, oh shit, how did that happen? That was kind of the idea behind it. It's not clearly stated anywhere, but my theory is that like you give it a little bit of atmosphere and bam, it's magic, it's happening.
Yeah, I was thinking it might just be floating around out there until it hits something eventually, which space is big. It could be decades, centuries, who knows, but
yeah.
I read the novelization way back. I don't remember it much, but I looked up a couple of notes on it. Somebody mentioned the scene was in the novelization, and it was like an unused scene from the movie. Like they shot it, but it didn't fit. Where when they are looking for the creature before Brett gets it, they find a bunch of like canned goods that have been consumed.
Huh.
Yeah.
So it was eating something.
Beefaroni.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. In the deleted scenes, so I mentioned this a little bit earlier, the deleted scenes that made it into the director's cut, you see, because we see Brett killed. His face is destroyed by the secondary mandible thing inside the alien's mouth. But we don't see Dallas or Lambert killed. They are both off-screen deaths. It's assumed that they are killed, right? But in the director's edition of this, they are placed up against a wall inside like this kind of, it looks like the alien skin, like we'll see in Aliens. But yeah, it was essentially creating a nest inside the Nostromo.
Uh-huh.
Makes sense.
That too was in the novelization. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense because then lays eggs next to him, and when the face huggers hatch, they have something to. Yeah.
Essentially, they can metamorphosize into a queen if there isn't one.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like I've told this before on air somewhere, but when James Cameron was pitching the sequel to Alien, he just walked into the office of whatever executive they were pitching to, and went to a chalkboard and wrote Alien, turned and looked at them, went back, wrote an S, looked at him again, and then put a line through it for a dollar sign and walked out of the room.
That guy.
The rest is history, man.
Yep.
He was not wrong at all.
Absolutely was not wrong. It's a good thing he's James Cameron because he actually made a damn good movie. But
and it's interesting, not to get too deep into Aliens, but this is a sci-fi horror movie, and that is a sci-fi action movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They are different genres of film completely.
That take place. Yeah. And after that, I feel like everyone after that is kind of a mixture of horror action that tries to kind of combine the first two films as genres in a way.
Yeah.
But the second one is
once a creature's been seen, so you have to turn it more into an action dealing with that creature battling.
As we see in Jaws 2 and 3
again. Yes.
Well, yeah, no, but it's kind of like this. It's like, imagine if in Halloween, John McClane showed up in Haddonfield.
Yeah, man, I'd watch that movie.
That's what Aliens is kind of like.
Prometheus, I am an apologist for this movie. I like it more than it probably deserves credit for. It is the only one of these that I would say follows that, like, it is a different genre of film. Because it is kind of a high sci-fi, high fantasy sci-fi take on the alien universe. And people will disagree with me all day, every day on this, but I think that it was an attempt at expanding the alien property into something new instead of rehashing horror and action.
It definitely was tonally very different than every previous Alien film. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'd agree with you.
Yeah. So, I think it suffered as a result, but I still love it.
Yeah. That's yeah. I don't know. There's I've only seen, how many Alien Predator movies have there been now? 2, 3,
I haven't seen
4?
At least 3. There's Alien versus Predator, AVP 2, AVP Requiem.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
I think I've only seen the first one.
Yeah, I've seen most of them once, and I don't really care for them. They don't count. They're not canon.
Yeah. I would
So, I mean, here's the thing then. So Predator is the same universe.
It's true.
When if we ever at any point, as we've maybe talked about, like run out of superhero movies and move into doing different franchises, theoretically, Alien might encompass something like 12 movies.
This is my vote, man, because there's a lot of material to get into, and there's some really good comic book material that feeds into that. Prometheus, famously not well received. There's a comic book that explains a lot of the unanswered questions in Prometheus that ties in the Predator, the engineers, and the alien in a really interesting way. I don't want to call it exciting, but it's fun. I like bad media, though. I like shit that sucks to most people.
So do I.
The worse it is, the more fun I have with it. So
yeah, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts on Alien, guys, before we move on?
If I had only seen this movie, this would be an unanswered question. Is the ship owned by Purina? Is Purina the company?
Is there a reason you have for thinking Purina might be?
The red and white.
The logo was everywhere.
The Purina logo was?
Yeah. It was even in one of the first shots before they woke up. It was on the door.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't exact, but
like the check logo.
Yeah,
Checkered,
yeah,
red and white.
the red and white checker.
Interesting. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, they're using the ore to make cat food, obviously.
It was designed by dogs.
They're just testing it on Jones throughout the trip.
Yeah. So, all right, that draws a close to our Alien episode, which means it's time to look to next week. And next week on Haunted Phosphorescence, we will be watching Young Frankenstein.
Oh my god!
Yay!
Yes,
So good.
I'm so excited for this.
Yes,
Great movie.
Yeah, that's a really good movie. This is one I've actually watched fairly recently. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, I watch it every now and then for sure.
Same.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. That is next week. Join us, everyone, for Young Frankenstein next week. Thanks for hanging out with us on Haunted Phosphorescence. This has been your host, Throw Smiley, and now it's back to the old Freezerino for me.
I'm Josh Cece, and I only get paid half of what these other guys do.
I'm Brian Lesh, and I don't want to hear it. I want to go home and party.
I'm Alaric Weber, still collating.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.